AutoTrader.ca is the largest car marketplace here in Canada. It's basically a place where Canadians can go to research, compare, find and shop for new and used cars. So we have about 26 million visits a month. The technology is unreal. It's unreal technology. Yeah. The most important thing is to do something that you enjoy and you're passionate about, and then you will eventually be successful at it. As it's not the heat, it's the pow. The flavor of this stuff explodes in your mouth.
In this episode, I'm talking to Ian MacDonald, CMO of AutoTrader, Canada's #1 market leader for new and used cars. They have over 60% or something crazy of the Canadian market. In 2016, they were acquired by a company called Thoma Bravo at a valuation of $1.5 billion. And in August 2024, just 8 years later, they were acquired once again by a company called AutoScout24 at a valuation of $4 billion. Ian was there both times. We're going to cover so many things. Number 1, how to win using email and CRM customization. Number 2, the economics in the process of buying logo placements in sporting arenas. Number 3, ad buying strategies for online TV versus traditional cable TV, and more. And every time he can't answer a question, we both have to take, as usual, a shot of hot sauce from our sponsors, Good Looking Hot Sauce. There's a promo code. Use the promo code flowing over there for 15% off your entire order. Wish me luck, Martians. I hope you enjoy this one. Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Super excited for this one. I'm always excited, but this time is special because this is round 2 with Ian MacDonald. He is currently the CMO of a company called AutoTrader. Some significant news came out recently, which we're going to dive into, but this is round 2. Believe the first one we recorded, I was in Korea. So Ian, welcome back to the show again.
Hey, Simon, thanks so much. Thanks for having me again. It's always a relief to be invited back because it means the first one.
It means you did something well for the first one.
Yeah.
How has life been since, I guess it's been, was it November that we recorded? It's been...
Is that long?
Was it December?
Yeah. I guess it's been very busy. Super busy year for us, as you kind of alluded to in your intro. Always is, but especially busy this year, yeah.
Yeah. Should we just get right into it? Something happened recently in the news. Do you want to shed some light on it?
Sure thing. Okay. So AutoTrader Canada is owned by Trader Corporation. We have 3 other brands actually: AutoSync, DealerTrack Canada, and Collateral Management Solutions under Trader Corporation. But many listeners will have seen in the news, in the Globe and in Bloomberg and places like that, as well as yourself, Simon, that Trader Corporation is said to be acquired by AutoScout24, which is a big marketplace company over in Europe. And they have auto marketplaces in 4 or 5 different countries over there in Europe.
Yeah, $5.5 billion company, large company, is now acquiring your company. So we're going to dive into all the juicy details. I have questions that I was thinking about last night. I wasn't sure if you would be able to answer, but this is the best platform for me to ask these questions because we just take some drinks of delicious hot sauce. We actually...
Sounds like some hot sauce coming my way.
I think so. Yeah. And the first time we recorded, we didn't have a sponsor, but now things have changed a little bit. We have a couple of sponsors. Our sponsor for this episode is Good Looking Hot Sauce. We actually sent you some. Have you opened up any of the hot sauces yet?
Yes. Yeah, I've been working on this one I have here. Cayenne, you handle it. Yeah.
Cayenne, you handle it. Okay. Do you have one that has which one has the lowest amount of peppers in front of you? Let's go for that one first.
This one.
Is that
That's why I chose this one.
The sweet OG?
Cayenne, yeah.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't. I only brought the one bottle with me along to record today because the rest of them are home in my kitchen. So I've been enjoying them. It's good stuff.
Okay. All right. So we'll just be doing Cayenne, you handle it. Let's start off the show.
Oh, right.
Let's warm up a little bit. Let's do a little bit of a warm up. Ooh, juicy. All right, 1 second. All right. Cheers. Yeah.
Full of flavor.
It is full of flavor. That is actually one of my favorite ones. I have never tried this hot sauce outside of shooting it in shooter form. So
Oh, really?
I think it's because it's the morning. It gets me a little harder, but in the back of the throat. That's in the back of the throat.
It's got lots of bits of peppers in it. I notice.
Yeah.
So it's
I guess it's cayenne. It would make the most sense.
Mm.
Yeah, little bits of dried onions. That's nice. So, man, what's new? What's good in life? You got kids. So you're spending a lot of time. I remember last time we were talking about your kids. It's like 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. So now I guess they're 7 and 4.
My daughter's still 6, and my little guy's now 4. He had a birthday from the last time we spoke. So yeah, 6 and 4.
Nice. Are you guys picking up any new hobbies as a family, or have you started doing anything new since the last time we chatted in November?
I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff, but no, it's been a good summer. It's very challenging balancing kids with kind of high demand work, but we do what we can.
Yeah.
It's been like summer in Toronto has been good this year. It was a bit slow to get started, but it's been really good. Last month or so. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So let's jump into it. How I usually like to do it now is like to learn a little bit more about you and your kind of just overall philosophies of things. We have a few questions that we wanted to ask you. So we'll kind of ask you, but before we do that, maybe give a little bit of love to AutoTrader. For those in the audience that have not heard your first episode, maybe explain to us again what exactly AutoTrader does, how they make money. We'll start from there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So AutoTrader.ca is the largest car marketplace here in Canada. So it's basically a place where Canadians can go to research, compare, find and shop for new and used cars. So we have about 26 million visits a month. Canada has a population of around 45 million. So that's a serious number of visits. And because of all those eyeballs, we have about 5,000 dealers advertising their new and used cars for sale on the platform. And that's where we make the majority of the revenue. And it's from charging those dealers, number one, to be on the platform, and then number two, to promote their inventory above their competitors to get them in front of those Canadian car intenders that are visiting the marketplace. Obviously, like anything, there's a lot more to it, but that's kind of how it breaks down in simple terms.
Yeah. Anything you can share with us? Okay, so 25 million visits. Anything you can share with us to kind of give you guys are there reports showing like market share in Canada and stuff? Like, can you share any of that kind of those kind of stats?
Yeah, for sure. So if you look at something like ComScore and you're thinking about unique users to car marketplaces, so thinking about Kijiji and Car Gurus are kind of the two challengers, I would say. Our market share is about 66%, according to June 2024 data. So we're about 2/3 of the market.
Of the Canadian market?
Canadian market, yes.
Wow, 67% of the Canadian market. You can imagine how large that is. I can't remember if I asked you about revenue last time. I'm going to think about that before we get too spicy. We'll get into just overall. Want to talk about just like AutoTrader and the transformations. You guys have done serious digital transformations. We talked about it last time. I guess with the introduction of AI and all that stuff, like what have been some of the big changes that you have implemented in the last year or so at AutoTrader that's making it even better than the previous versions of AutoTrader?
Well, I'd say we're sort of in the midst of implementing the most meaningful kind of change. I mean, really, it's only been about 18 months since we acquired DealerTrack Canada to our Trader Corporation business. DealerTrack is the number one financing solutions provider for dealers in Canada. So if a Canadian goes into a dealership and they want to get a lease or finance a car, get a loan, about 2/3 of the time, the dealer will use DealerTrack to find the lender, whether it's a bank or whatever it is. So with that being in the mix now, obviously that kind of presents a lot of opportunities for collaboration and synergies. And, one thing we launched on the site about a couple of months ago is the ability to get pre-qualified if you are a consumer that's looking for a finance-based solution. So you get pre-qualified in AutoTrader, you can understand what you can afford, then you can go ahead and browse with more confidence. And it means when you contact dealers, you can afford that car because you've been pre-qualified for a loan. So that's one example, but I'd say the theme for us really is around bringing together those capabilities, which is, it's not kind of a secret, right? Like if you have these capabilities, we've got the number one marketplace, we've got the number one dealer software provider, which is AutoSync. So, we've got thousands of dealers using our CRM. Their websites are powered by our website products and that sort of stuff. And then you've got the whole financing piece as well. You can see how those things could work together in a very unique way. I'm not sure there's too many other marketplaces around the world that actually have those.
Do sites like Kijiji or I guess I haven't even purchased a car in a while, but AutoTrader, we talked about this last time. I personally use AutoTrader for my purchase of my last car, but other sites got to put in the plug. But do other sites not have these capabilities? Is that the reason why AutoTrader has maintained such dominance, that they have these? I would assume it's not that difficult to add to their tech stack.
Some of them have kind of tried it or flirted with doing it. Because they don't own businesses like that, they have to do it through kind of deals and partnerships. And those things come with their own challenges. I think the difference with us is we actually own those companies. We own that technology. So we're able to integrate it in a far, far deeper way, which ultimately makes for better experience for the user and for the dealer. But to answer your question, we're really just sort of getting started with that side of things. The reason why the marketplace is the most dominant is just quite simply, it's the biggest brand. It's been around the longest. 50 years next year. It's our 50th anniversary next year of AutoTrader in Canada. And I think a commitment to investing in advertising and brand building over all those years, right? That's what ultimately gives you the share in the end. And I think staying on top of it, there are many brands that have good legacy, but they become a bit complacent. And that's one thing that hasn't happened here. So as we've had new market entrants like Car Gurus in sort of 2016, 2017, because there hasn't been any complacency on the part of the market leader, which is us, it's been super, super hard for them to gain a foothold.
Okay, this might be a little spicy of a question, but
all right.
Now that you're gone from AutoTrader, most likely one of these competitors might want to pick you up as a talent.
I'm not gone though. I'm not gone. I'm still here.
Oh wait, so you're not gonna you're staying, you're keeping your position.
Yeah. Well, as far as I know, but that is a hot sauce question.
Okay, let's frame it a different way. Sorry, I thought after the acquisition you're no longer going to be there, but
we can discuss that over a beer. But no,
we can discuss that over a beer. Yeah. Okay,
edit that out. Yeah.
If one of the competitors were to reach out, which competitor would you want to work at after AutoTrader? I think that's a super spicy. I don't know if I would personally answer that, but
no, I think that's a hot sauce question. Honestly, because I really haven't given any thought. To be honest,
I think the honest answer would be you wouldn't, you wouldn't leave, but that would be not acceptable from the team.
Nah, I'll take the hot sauce.
Yeah, me too.
Whenever you're ready.
Did you take it yet?
No, I got away.
Okay. I'll ask you another question. We'll stack the hot sauce because we're gonna do a hot sauce question anyways. How much was the AutoTrader deal for? How much money did they get acquired for?
Good question. So we haven't confirmed that, but listeners probably would have seen it reported in the Globe and Bloomberg and other places as 4 billion Canadian. I can confirm that that's credible.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Unfortunately, we already poured this out, so we're going to do it anyways, but I'm surprised you answered that. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Is this the first time you've confirmed it in any show?
Well, I said it's credible, right? So we've signed, but right now, as we're recording this, we're between signature and close. So but that range that was reported in the press is credible.
All right. Well,
all right.
Cheers to that. Cheers to being able to answer that.
Oh.
It's sour. Isn't it sour?
It has got a little sourness to it. It's one of those things, like I said last time with the hot sauce. It would be great on chicken or something. From a glass,
yeah, it'll be good on chicken. Yeah, for sure. Do you have a favorite chicken brand?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, cool. I was gonna say, do you have a favorite type of chicken? But I don't know if there are chicken types.
How many types are there?
How many types of chicken could there be? But anyways, I digress. What was I going to ask? Okay. We talked a little bit last time about just like different strategies. We talked about so many different types of strategies. For listeners that are listening that are curious, you can always go back to the first episode. We dive into all the different channels that Ian's working on. But that was last November. What have been some recent campaigns or recent things that you're testing out that you're really excited about, that you think will, that you maybe AutoTrader hasn't traditionally tested out a lot and you're really excited about for the next 12 months or so?
It's a good question. I think that CRM and kind of re-engagement marketing, which is such a basic thing, we all know we should do it and stuff, but I think that is one thing where there was a lot of headroom and improvement to be made on the AutoTrader marketplace, and we've done that in the last 18 months. We've implemented a complete reboot of the whole My Account area of the site. So now when users create an account, it's got a really strong value proposition as to why you would do that, and it really nicely organizes everything they're looking at and their whole journey and saved vehicles in a great way. And that's enabled us to then open the doors to doing a better job of kind of, call it cross-selling maybe, but basically engaging with users over email and push notification and stuff to help them along that kind of journey. I think in the past we didn't do a fantastic job of that, but in the last 12 months it's come on a lot. And given the number of visits that we have and the number of users that we have, that's something that I think is very exciting for the future.
So basically, if I were to paraphrase, basically using the data that you're collecting from your users to load more information on your CRM so you can have more touch points with them.
Yeah, and I think have more relevant touch points with them and be able to recommend things to them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Are you guys trying to do this fully in-house, or are you guys using third-party software to do this?
Yeah.
What does the stack look like?
We're using SFMC for that. So we're integrated with them, and we have a kind of, obviously we have, consumer tools that we build internally and kind of data lakes, all that sort of stuff that power it as well. But yeah, there was that. And then something else we did that was quite high profile this year was we sponsored the Stanley Cup playoffs with digital dashboards, which is pretty exciting. And I mean, that went well for us because the Oilers went all the way to the final series and obviously went really deep into the final series. So we got a lot of exposure through that. And I think that was one of the things that helped us drive our aided awareness to 93% when we last measured it, which was an all-time high. Yeah, so that was exciting too. And it was great to see the brand back up in those kind of spaces, right? Because we did a bunch of that stuff going back now. So my sort of first stint with AutoTrader, so 2016, we did some of that stuff. But that was when digital dashboards were brand new. We were one of the first brands to use them. Now they're a little bit more established. So no, I think that activity is really important for increasing the addressable market, and you're reaching users en masse in a kind of a slightly less targeted way, which I think is a really important part of the mix. So yeah, it's glad to see us do that.
Yeah, and from what I remember, you guys are big into sports, like sponsoring sports related.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of sponsorship, but like certainly it's the target demographic is right on. So we've always done a lot of TV and sports and stuff, but yeah, inching back into those kind of bigger engagements like that, like the NHL deal.
Now, okay, explain to us how it works. Like I've heard mixed. I've never made any purchases directly in stadiums, but NHL, obviously a very big organization, a lot of viewers. Maybe our audience right now from Latin America don't know about ice hockey, but ice hockey is a very important sport, at least in Canada. How does it work? Like, if one wants to buy a placement, first of all, there must be a long lineup of companies that want to get there. That's number one.
Yeah.
And is it like a bidding? Like, explain to us the process of how a company would place their logo.
It's
in the stadium.
Yeah, like most things, it's very complicated, and I'm certainly not the expert in it, but I sort of try and navigate it. So, I mean, essentially, and it differs by league and it differs by geography and all that sort of stuff. But basically, any kind of media that's related to the sports, and then certainly like the in-stadium stuff is very different from the TV time, which is very different from sponsoring certain events and times of the season, like playoffs. But generally speaking, the teams themselves have lots of things available that you can do with them. That does tend to be more of the in-arena stuff, but they also have some TV time and stuff like that. So you can work directly with the teams if there's a particular team that seems to have a particular fit. Maybe the geography is the most obvious thing you'd think of because of the exclusion zones. You can work directly with a team, and they have a number of different options. Then you can work more with the broadcasters. So the broadcasters have access to a bunch of stuff, most notably the TV spots, but also kind of other stuff they get a piece of. And then you have the league. So, unless we in that case, we're sort of dealing directly with the NHL, and the league they have more access to things like they call them the crown or the jewel events or something. So it's like, the Heritage Classic, all that stuff, the Stanley Cup
Winter
playoffs.
Classics.
The Winter Classic, yeah. These are properties that are owned by the NHL, so they have a lot of control around the advertising options within them. So it really depends on sort of what your objective is as to what sort of activity you would do, and then you've got to make sure you're sort of speaking to the right folks. And like I said, the way it's constructed is probably overly complex, to be honest with you, at least in the case of the NHL.
And I've heard this, and I'm not sure, maybe you would know this, can confirm this, but like what you see in the actual in-person arena, all those logos floating around, is different from what we see on the TV.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct,
so
right?
When I say digital dashboards, that's exactly what I'm talking about. If you're there in person, you won't see them. But if you're watching at home on TV, you will see them.
Crazy. It is wild.
The technology is unreal.
It's unreal.
It's unreal technology.
Yeah. And the fact that live, real time, you have players skating around over and through it, but we can still see visually the ads. It's mind blowing.
Like seamlessly. It's seamless. It's that's no matter what happens with the action on the ice, whatever. Like, it's absolutely seamless behind it. It's impressive.
Speaking of seamless, how much money were you spending? Like, how much does it cost? Which is a completely awkward transition, but like, how much does it cost to get an ad placement in the NHL?
Well, I mean, one TV spot, it's not going to be too bad. It's going to be a lot, but it's not going to be too bad. To be honest with you, it's such a huge scale, depending on what you want to do. If you're going up to like those brands that are kind of like partners of the NHL, it's multi-million, multi-year deal. If it's more of a one-off thing, it's probably
how much was your deal with the NHL?
I'd probably take a shot for that.
All right, audience is ready for this. We got to start giving hot sauce to the audience too. At some point, they're just waving their flags and telling us to take shots. All right, cheers.
All right, cheers. Oh, you know what it is? That's what I'm picking up. I just read the label. A delicious cayenne punch with a lip-smacking curry flavor.
That's what it is.
A curry flavor that's doing it.
It's like, gets stuck in the throat. Yeah. It's not even spicy. It's just
that's the thing. Like,
the powdery stuff. And little chunks of onions. It's stuck in your throat. That's weird. TMI.
Yeah, it's not the heat. It's the pow. It really.
What did you say?
It's not the heat. It's the pow. Like
the pow.
The flavor of this stuff like explodes in your mouth. Anyways,
All right, we're gonna send this to Brandon so they can add it to their description of the hot sauce. Heat and pow.
I got to start answering some questions.
Yeah. All right. Actually, this might be cool. This might be cool for us to talk about digital placements. You guys have done other digital placements before, like, right? Not just outside of sports. Where else do you guys spend most of your, ad placements?
You mean like TV, or do you mean more like
things related to TV? Like what?
Well, we have a great TV buying agency that we work with here in Canada who do a fantastic job for us. And so, yeah, it's usual kind of stuff. Like it's yes, conventional broadcast stations, but these days a lot of the eyeballs are on the kind of longer tail cable. So a lot of the ads wind up there based on, optimization, that kind of direct response layer on cable. But we talked last time about some of our buys with Fubo and DAZN and stuff like that over the years. So we do more and more kind of sports related video on demand. Because again, that's sort of where the eyeballs are going and that's the environment. So we do some of that stuff too.
What's the breakdown? Like what goes towards cable versus video on demand or other sources?
It genuinely varies on the time of year and stuff. I mean, I just tend to sort of, and again, in conjunction with the agency, we try and do what's smart, right? So if you include YouTube, VOD, the whole thing, it's probably around 15-20% of that kind of, audio-visual asset buy is going digital and the rest is going TV. But like it does vary depending on the time of the year and the campaign and stuff.
Right. Like summertime, maybe more digital because of less sports on cable.
Yeah, it depends on the season of the sport that you happen to be sponsoring and stuff. I think the other thing I say is that kind of rule of thumb, it really depends on the market that you're in. Canada still, like conventional linear cable TV still has, like slightly reducing over the years, but still has really good reach in Canada. So it just makes sense to sort of keep spending there. That might not be true in every market. I think that's not true in the UK, for example. I think there's more VOD consumption in the UK.
Yeah. You actually manage the spend it in the UK side too, right?
No, I don't. That's a separate company.
I mean, like previously.
Oh, previously I did. Yes, years and years ago. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Do you know what the breakdown of the UK, just so we can understand the difference between UK versus Canada?
I don't. I left there in 2011, and I don't know how they break it down these days. I do know that they have a pretty different market where they don't really have meaningful competitors there. They've kind of like if our market share is 2/3, I think theirs is 75 plus.
Holy.
So yeah. Like there was very little competition for AutoTrader for about 10 years there in the 2010s. I think Cogos is there now, but again, it's a small challenger. So they're in a different kind of ball game. So I would think that their media mix will kind of reflect that.
Yeah. It's crazy because so you were in the UK side of things back in
2007 to 2011, give or take.
20, yeah, right, because you left 2012,
right,
and then 2012 you arrived in Toronto and you became the director of consumer marketing at the time, at AutoTrader.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You left for a little bit. You joined a couple of other companies, Garage Sale, Chef's Plates, and everything, and then you're back. And now you guys just sold the company. It's amazing. It's first of all, congratulations. I know you worked your ass off for this. But it must have been a very good deal for you and the fam.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're kind of the C-level of companies and this PE company and you're sort of driving that hard, obviously they do want to reward you to keep you driving that hard. But yeah, no, thank you. It's been, it's actually amazing when I sit down and think about it that I've actually been back with AutoTrader for 5 years now. So it's kind of 2019, I came back to consult a little bit. So it's been 5 years I've been back, and time flies.
Yeah. All right. We're going to do a quick rapid fire round. I have a few questions for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you the question and you just answer one word. Quick, no hesitation.
Okay.
This is gonna be funny because the last question I think is gonna get you. I'm already laughing, but all right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Favorite car brand?
Ford.
Ooh. All right. Sorry, Honda.
I used
Data-driven.
to have a Mustang. I love Mustangs.
That's like-
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. So yeah.
What do you drive? Do you drive a Ford?
No, I drive a Genesis actually.
Oh, I
The
love Genesis.
GV80. Yeah, Genesis. Yeah, I have to say.
Hey,
great cars.
after the sale of the company, when it closes, maybe you'll upgrade to a McLaren. Who knows?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah,
Data-driven marketing approach or more creative campaigns?
am I allowed to give rationale or just one answer?
Actually, yeah, maybe like a one sentence. You can explain like one sentence why.
I'd say creative, just because there's not enough of it. There's too much focus on data driven.
Everything is data.
I am a data driven person. I'd like to be a little more creative. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Waking up at 5 a.m. Sleeping. Wait, what is this? Sorry. Morning person or night owl? That's it.
Depends on the day of the week. Work day is a morning person, and weekend are probably more than night owl.
Okay. How early are you waking up in the morning?
Oh, I got those young kids, man. It's like 6:30. 6:30.
And then at nighttime, how late would you stay up nowadays? Like
On the weekends?
on the weekends, trying to have fun on the weekend.
Yeah, like 1 tops.
1 a.m. tops, yeah.
Because they got those kids again. Yeah, those kids again.
Those kids. All right. SEO or PPC for B2B companies? What would you invest in?
SEO.
SEO? Interesting. Okay, we'll dive into that. Last question. How much equity do you have at AutoTrader?
Hot sauce.
What? I thought you were going to be able to answer that. Oh, okay. All right.
I think you write some of these just for the hot sauce, because you know no one's going to answer them.
Really? Oh, man. I thought you were going to answer that. Blame the team. The team is getting really creative with these questions.
Okay.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay, let's go back. You said SEO over PPC.
Yeah.
And you guys spend a lot of money on ads and also PPC. But you said SEO instead. Explain why SEO in today's time.
Well, you said for B2B. The answer's
B2B, yeah.
For B2B.
For B2B, yeah.
I feel like the B2B decision maker is more suspicious of paid advertising, and I feel like they are more aware of how the whole thing's working than your average consumer.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
I think where possible, B2B should try to be as organic as possible.
Yeah.
Or at least appear to be.
Unless you have a very strong brand, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, we can talk more about B2B and how it differs and how it's similar kind of thing. But I think that brand building in B2B is a sorely underused strategy when I look around.
Let's unpack that. Let's unpack
Sure.
that. You're in the B2B world. Well, B2C.
Well, I have B2B as well. So, I mean,
you have B2B as well.
It's just, it's a unique kind of situation for us, which I can explain.
And so many brands don't do it well. So how would you how do you approach brand building? How do you build a brand that other businesses love to work with? And like you said, businesses are more suspicious of other businesses' marketing activities, but how do you build a brand whether or not, and they actually love working with you instead?
Well, I think it's really not that different to the way in which you would build a good, strong brand in a B2C sense. And that has to do with proper research and kind of diagnosis of pain points and needs and things, segmentation, targeting, and positioning of the prospects. Positioning is key. I see so few B2B brands positioning and really clearly thinking through value propositions and things. I see a lot of lead generation hustle, and I get why, because if you're in B2B marketing, it's always been a little more of a bit more of a thankless task than B2C marketing, because you generally have this sales team who close the deals and get the kudos. So B2B has always had that kind of issue, but I think that, like all of us, right, more and more pressure is being put on marketers to demonstrate ROI. And if that's not done in a nuanced way, that can lead to, same with B2C, right? It can lead to, if you're KPI'd on visits only, you're going to go crazy and buy a bunch of visits and you're going to neglect the brand. If you're being pressured and there's a short-term horizon, and if you pressure a B2B marketer to deliver a certain number of leads, they're going to deliver the leads, but the conversion ratio is probably not going to be great. And that's going to lead them to short-term thinking as well, which isn't good either. So what I see in B2B is like there's an awful lot of, to be honest, as far as I can tell, salespeople kind of being asked to do the B2B job. I mean, certainly myself, is probably the same for you. I get endless, as a decision maker, I get endless messages on LinkedIn and emails every day from B2B brands. And it's some brand I've never heard of. So in this one communication, they're trying to go through the whole funnel. They're trying to get from awareness, it's the first time I've heard of it, to creating some interest, desire, and then they want me to take action at the end and go and book myself a meeting with them on their Calendly. And it's like, that's no, that's not going to happen. Right?
It's kind of like, mass messaging a bunch of people on dating sites. You go on one date and you're like, here's the paper.
Right.
Kind of thing.
It's all too much, too fast.
How would you build your organization any differently though? Like if you were in the CEO position, I mean, you're CMO, you make a lot of these decisions. If you had full autonomy into how you would run your company, how would you build it any differently? Your sales motions.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd clearly define what the role of the B2B marketing team is and what the role of the salesperson is and what each should expect from each other. And then I think just good strategy, having very disciplined segmentation, targeting is huge, targeting your prospects, and then positioning them through into the comms and what's the actual strategy for these things. Because, it's basically the choice between, and the other issue is like AI has made this easy or easier, this kind of spray and pray type thing. So, do you want to send out 5,000 LinkedIn messages? And like I say, you're trying to do that whole job. It's the first time you're introducing the brand and you're trying to do the whole job from start to finish in 100 words. It's so hard. Versus, of those 1,000, these are the 50 that we believe we've done the discovery. They're an absolutely excellent fit for our brand and our offering. So let's use some marketing tactics to start building some awareness. Let's send them a direct mailer, anything, to plant some seeds ahead of going with the direct comms route. And then when that message arrives, oh yeah, you're those guys that sent me that, whatever it is, to the office, or I've seen your content on LinkedIn because they've been amplifying it to you properly and stuff. And that can just help so much with making those communications more successful because that kind of whole brand awareness and comprehension thing is already done. So, those would be the main. I mean, it's like so much in business. It just comes back to having a strategy rather than, unfortunately, maybe saying to some salespeople, well, here's your targets, go get them and use AI and fire out as many messages as possible and, quantity over quality type thing. I think that's a really tough brief.
Yeah. I think LinkedIn could do a lot better. By the way, are you what are your thoughts on LinkedIn? I actually just hosted a live podcast last week in San Francisco, and we might do one live in Toronto at some point. So we'll definitely need to get you on that panel. It was super fun. We had 50 marketers in a theater, and we did a live recording, camera and everything. It was super fun. But one of the questions that we talked about was how important is LinkedIn for your personal brand when it comes to B2B, when you're in a B2B organization? Should executives grow a strong personal brand for additional eyeballs? Or is LinkedIn becoming this place where just a bunch of salespeople trying to sell to each other and people don't really care about it? What are your thoughts when it comes to LinkedIn?
I suppose to answer the first part of your question, should executives? Yes, absolutely. Executives should be known by the prospects and have their own. I mean, every human has their own positioning, whether they think of it that way or nurture it or not. We're all different. We have a different approach and we're unique. So I think absolutely there should be more faces and humans known behind brands, particularly for super high value B2B propositions. Is LinkedIn the way to do it? I think LinkedIn's in trouble, to be honest with you. Like you just mentioned, when you just as a user of it, and we do use it for some content amplification stuff, but as a user of it, I think it's losing its way quite badly. To be honest with you, it's not a pleasant experience anymore. I find when you go on LinkedIn.
Yeah, give the audience a sense of what your LinkedIn looks like. You must how many messages do you have unread right now, and how many invites are in your inbox right now?
And the invites is going to be in the hundreds. Unread messages, I try and keep it kind of clean, so I'm going through them maybe now and then. It's like dozens, because it's dozens, maybe half a dozen a day. Like in
Do you respond to any of them?
Very rarely. As I say, if it's a brand where there is some awareness there, and I've seen some of their stuff, and sort of that there is a consideration kind of bubbling, and then that message comes through, and that's what I was saying earlier about the kind of targeting and having a proper funnel. Then I will respond to them, but I hesitate to say that because I don't want to now get even more. The vast majority I don't respond to.
Yeah. But it's I guess email is email kind of the same, or has your email kind of quieted down and there's more? I heard from some executives that email is a play in 2024 because it's less saturated. But as a marketer, even saying those words out means that it will become saturated at some point. Your thoughts on email inbox versus LinkedIn inbox?
I still find it pretty busy on email.
Yeah.
And there's just so much of it now. And like I said, a lot of it is AI powered, and you can tell. I think it's really hard, those emails. I mean, you've probably got about the first 9 words to stop someone from closing it and moving on. That's really, really tough.
It's rough. It's rough. What about I've seen a huge trend, at least with the startups that are raising their Series A, Series B, is all these young founders, and their emails are wild. So many GIFs or GIFs. Do you pronounce it as GIFs or GIFs?
It was always GIFs, and then I think the guy who invented it said it was GIF, and then some people changed, some people didn't. But it sounds weird now to call it GIF.
Now it sounds. We'll have to add the. I mean, audience, you guys are the young ones. Is it GIFs or GIFs? GIFs, 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 GIFs.
You've got one of
GIFs.
each.
Okay, it's GIFs.
It's GIF.
Now it sounds weird me saying it. GIF.
I feel like I'd be forcing it. If I changed now, I feel like I'd be forcing it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but emails that are full of GIFs all over the place, would you respond to an email like that? Making you laugh, like funny things.
I've noticed this trend too, and it's like, I don't know, the zanier they get, the less kind of engaged I sort of get, to be honest. I mean, they do cut through a little more, I guess. Like, I got one the other day. Yeah, I got one the other day that was a GIF of a sad puppy or something saying, "This is me when you didn't respond to my email." So I guess I remembered it, but I don't know.
It made you laugh, and that was it.
Yeah, mildly, I guess.
Yeah. All right. We'll ask one last question, and then we'll move to the final segment, which is just understanding your childhood background. We started adding this in the show, and it was really fun to just kind of dig in what little baby Ian was like growing up and stuff. But last question. This was a question asked by the team, not me. It's a little spicy, so be warned. But they were curious. You've worked with teams in the UK, and you've also worked with teams in Canada. Which team do you like working with the least?
What a question. I've worked with teams in other markets too. Working with the least, like
just UK, because you were actually at AutoTrader UK and also AutoTrader Canada. Which is your least favorite team to work with?
I've been at AutoTrader Canada so long. There's been so many different teams that have come through here, so it'd be hard to. I'm gonna have to hot source that one. I'm gonna have to hot source that one.
Okay, all right. This will be the last one.
Yeah.
Oh my god. By the way, feel free to do a little less. I'm gonna do a little less on this one because my stomach I'm starting to feel it, and I'm wimping out on this one. But,
All right. Cheers. Nice one.
right. Little whiskey taste test. We're gonna have to do this in person at some point. This, maybe without hot sauce, maybe with whiskey instead. Are you a whiskey drinker? Scotch?
I'm more of a vodka person, actually.
Vodka? Ooh.
Clear spirits, yeah.
Wow. What's your favorite vodka?
Well, it's controversial now because it's Russian.
Yeah,
But I like Beluga, but you can't get it in Canada anymore.
Oh, controversial. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. What's going on there? But let's not get into politics. But okay, well, you've lived in the UK, you've lived in Canada. Not talking about the teams in particular. Where do you like living more, like the most? Like, what matches your style?
I think they both have their benefits, you know. There's a lot of stuff going on in the UK at the moment. They have some issues. But we have some issues here in Canada too.
We have some issues too. Yeah.
Who knows? I do think Canada is great for kids. I like watching my kids grow up here. I'll say that. It's a little less. Well, I'm from London as well, which is kind of, unique in itself, I guess, in the UK. But it's very congested. But but then again, we live in Toronto, which is a big city in Canada too. So yeah, there's a little more space here. Things are a little less crowded. I think it's a little better for kids probably. So I don't know. I'd probably give Canada the edge for now.
Yeah. You said that your daughter's into like singing, right? Performance.
Oh, did I say that? Yes, she is. Yeah.
Yeah. I just watched a show recently, and maybe audience have seen it as well. There's a new show on Netflix called Cat's Eye.
Oh.
Like they're trying to create a new they're trying to create a new girl band to compete against BTS. It's called Cat's Eye, and they recruited 20 people from all over the world: Brazil, US, Philippines, Korea, Japan. It's just all over the world, and they're competing, but they're like 13 years old, 14 years old, 16 years old, and then they're like, yeah, it's pretty wild. Maybe the daughter will want to try out for something like that in the future. Would you support her if she wanted to do it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that world is can be pretty hardcore, I think, for kids.
Yeah.
The record is shown.
They're trapped in a house, like a very nice house. Not trapped. Sorry, I wouldn't use that word. They're living there. It's a full year boot camp where you stay there for a whole year and you're training for 14 hours a day and you're living with your trainees for a whole year. And they're like 14 years old, right? 13 years old. I don't know. Yeah, it could be tough. Yeah,
there's a documentary on Netflix at the moment. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about the guy who kind of concepted and recruited and managed Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Yes, what is it called?
It's like Dirty Pop, I think it's called.
Yeah, Dirty Pop, yeah.
But yeah, I had no idea. I mean, I knew that a lot of those bands were kind of manufactured and whatnot, but it's pretty cynical behind the scenes. So
yeah,
that's what
they created NSYNC just so they can compete against Backstreet Boys. Is wild.
Who would it? I mean, if you're not paying attention, how would you know that? But yeah, they basically but there's a business lesson in that as well, that they knew they were going to be challenged at some point, so they created a brand to challenge themselves.
Yeah,
like why not be the one who challenges yourself if it's going to happen, which is quite interesting from a brand management point of view.
Yeah, I mean, AutoTrader also has several car companies as well, but
yeah, we got a couple of other bits and bobs, and I thought about that at times, to be honest, where we had some of them that were sort of not getting a massive amount of investment. Like we've got Autos.ca, which is pretty done now, but it was still like an editorial based property back in the day. And I sort of thought about, could we use that as like a sandbox for the marketplace, or we could try crazy stuff we'd never try on the main platform, and if it takes off, great.
Exactly.
And thinking in that way, I think that's an interesting way to think about challenger brands and competition.
Yeah. All right. We're done with most of the show. The marketing side, we didn't. I guess, did we talk a lot about marketing stuff? Audience, did we talk enough about marketing stuff? Okay, I think we did. Let's talk about Ian a little bit then. Do you guys want to learn about Ian a little bit?
I told you a lot. I told you a lot last time. Do you remember?
Yeah, you told us a lot last time. But maybe we'll ask an audience if you have other advice and inspiration. Okay, cool. this is good. Yeah, if you have any questions for Ian, type them below. Maybe let's do this. What kind of advice are you giving your kids right now? Right, because you get a chance to morph your kids into being whoever. Like, what kind of advice do you think you'll be giving your kids as they're being raised, and you can get to whisper things in their ear to guide them towards a certain way? Like, what do you think will be your biggest life lessons?
I think one of the biggest things I try to sort of engender in them is just the way that they treat others and how important that is in life and in your journey. And it only becomes more important as you get older. I think that calm is a real thing, but I don't think it's like, it's almost like, I don't want to sound too cynical about it, but it's not just that karma is a spiritual thing. It's also just, scientifically logical that if you treat people well and you're a good person and that kind of thing, that they will treat you well. And so better things will happen in your life type thing. So that's like the way they treat others and thinking about others is something I try to kind of engender into them. I think that's really important.
Is there a specific, in business it's all about systems. Is there a certain thing that you would teach them? Like, what if they're like, Dad, I don't know what it means to treat someone well. Like, are there certain things? I'll give you an example. My partner's parents always taught her that the other person you're talking to has something. Everyone in the world has something that they're better than you at. Find that one thing. So she approaches every single conversation in curiosity of the other person, and that helped her build a lot of strong relations. So like systems, like what would you like certain things that you would teach your kids?
I can't think of any particular system or framework off the top of my head, but that does resonate what you said. I know that I think Jordan Peterson said one of his rules is for life. I think I haven't read the book, but I think one of the rules is like assume the person you're speaking to knows more than you. If you come from that position, a similar kind of thing, right? Similar idea.
Yeah, and then some other people, their rule is to try to make the other person laugh in the first 30 seconds. Like everyone has a different system. I like that one. Yeah, I'm trying to get better, but yeah. All right, we have another question. What would you tell your younger self to motivate him? I guess in this case, your son is now 3 or 4 years old. At some point, you're going to be giving him tips on how to motivate him if he wants to get into the marketing career. What would you say to motivate him in the marketing field in this year?
I suppose I would just talk about why I've enjoyed the discipline so much and why I find exciting about it. Particularly in consumer marketing, the decisions that you make and then your team kind of makes has an impact on how millions of people think about a certain entity, in most cases, a brand. And that's always really appealed to me, that the decisions that we make right and wrong has an impact on millions of people. And like I said, it's a very small part of those millions of people's lives, right? It's a brand. It's a small part of their life. But still, that is pretty cool that you think about, okay, if we get this TV ad right, there's millions and millions of people are going to think better of, AutoTrader. If we get this thing wrong, millions and millions of people are going to think worse of AutoTrader. That I've always enjoyed that kind of impact that you're able to have. So I've always found that quite motivating. But, the other thing I would say, and I say this to a lot of kind of younger folks, is don't, so if he wants to do marketing or whatever it is, but the most important thing is to do something that you enjoy and you're passionate about, and then you will eventually be successful at it. I think that the most unhappy people are people who, it sounds really cliche, but they kind of maybe prioritize the earnings potential and stuff like that over what they really want to do. But almost without exception, any kind of job or profession, if you really love it, you make as much money as you need at it. And I think it's unfortunate, actually, they do those annual surveys of happiness and stuff. How many people are really, really unhappy in their role and their career and like where they've kind of, the industry they've ended up in. It's the vast, vast majority. So that's probably some advice I do give to younger folks, and I'd certainly give to my kids.
Yeah. Are you happy, Ian?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do really enjoy marketing. I mean, we spoke about it last time, right? Like when I started my career, I was much more I was a trainee actuary. I was on the math side of things, not very creative, all that kind of thing. And I took a pay cut to get into marketing. It was very hard in the first 3 years, but I'm glad that I did, because I knew I would enjoy it, and I did really enjoy it, and I stuck with it. And I've been quite successful at it, which is kind of proof of what I was just saying.
Now 10 years. Now you've been at AutoTrader Group for 10 years now, right? Are you
on and off. Yeah, with the break in the middle, it's 10 years.
Yeah. So I guess AutoTrader really does treat their people well.
Oh, we do. We have a great culture here, I have to say. We do have a really good culture here, particularly in the marketing team, I'd like to say. But no, we do.
What do you guys do that you're really proud of? That you're like, man, I'm so glad that AutoTrader, we have this in the culture. Like, what's your favorite part? I
think I can sort of speak, most closely to sort of my department. I like the culture of, I like the way that people kind of hold each other accountable, but not in a toxic way. That's good. Everybody from sort of top to bottom really believes in doing the right thing and driving the results. That's good. And I think more generally, like in terms of office and this kind of stuff, I know a lot of companies have sort of struggled with it. We kind of keep it fairly flexible. And on the whole, I think people are very, very respectful of that, which is good. Productivity is fine when people aren't in the office, but my department, we come in sort of 2 days a week. Thursdays is our big day in the office together, and we have a beer afterwards and all that sort of stuff. And that's always good times. And, I also think that recruitment is a massive part of culture as well. So we're very kind of particular.
For sure.
I can't speak about the other departments because I don't run the recruitment, but for us, we're very particular about how we recruit, and cultural fit is massive. It has to be a cultural fit. And that's what keeps it healthy and keeps it going. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, man, I feel like I can talk to you for hours. Maybe not hours with hot sauce, but like I can definitely talk to you for hours.
Yeah, if you get rid of the hot sauce, we talk a lot longer.
Yeah. No, like get us a bottle of vodka and a bottle of gin or whatever, and we'll talk for hours. But appreciate you coming on for round 2. We'll do round 3. There are a lot of questions that I wanted to ask about the AutoTrader acquisition and what comes after and everything. But obviously, we'll as everything unfolds, we'll get you back on for round 3. But want to give you a chance for whatever shout outs, like things that you're working on or whatever that you want to talk about, or a message that you want to have for our marketing viewers.
A message I have shout out wise, I have to shout out everyone at Trader Corporation for the tremendous effort over the last 4 years, but everyone who's contributed to that kind of effort. And also to the folks at AutoScout, who obviously we're working very closely with while we're kind of putting this thing together. So I want to recognize all the hard work that's gone on both sides on that side of things. And then more generally for the audience, what I say, I don't know, I think, like I said, if you're not happy, really try and prioritize your happiness. You've got me in reflective mood after asking me that question about advice. But it really is so important. All this stuff is so cliche, but it's so true. And like I say, as someone sitting here and we were just talking about it, right? Like, it's almost a year since we spoke. My God, it's 5 years since you've been back at AutoTrader. Wow, where'd the time go?
Yeah.
So, like I say, it's all cliched and stuff, but wherever possible, you get one go around, try and make you happy with it.
Yeah. All right, brother. I will try to make it out to Toronto at some point so we can meet up in person. But until next time.
Thanks so much, you guys. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Bye-bye.